What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Ink and Insights. I'm joined, as always, with my brother Stu from Dr. Doom's fan club. Stu, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. So happy to be here. We got so many banging books this week to talk about. Really a strong. Feel like we're coming off a strong week, and excited to get into it with you, brother. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. I had a hell of a week. It's been super busy. We had a wedding to attend this last weekend here. That was an absolute blast. But when that stuff hits, like you have very little time for all the extracurricular stuff,
Yeah,
like
very true.
these years. So
Very
yeah,
true.
it was a little bit of a struggle getting through everything. But yeah, dude, like last week was deceptively strong. Like last week, like could have been like contender for like strongest week of books of the year so far for me, man.
Oh hell yeah! I'd have to like really take it in and look at it on a bigger scale. Like I don't know if I'm ready to make that statement, but I definitely think it was sneaky strong, and a lot of these runs had some of them had their best issues yet. Some of them had just another crazy interesting chapter. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Hell yeah. Well, without further ado, why don't we talk about some of these books that we're talking about
Let's do
here?
it, dude.
Let's start off things with Aliens versus Avengers #3, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Asad Ribic. This has essentially just become like a quarterly book at this point. Before we
Yeah,
dive into
right.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it is, right? But before we dive into the book itself, considering that you've become a little bit of a horror aficionado, right? You got a little thing that you got going on Thursday nights with Blood Splatter Chatter. What's your background with the Alien lore, the mythology, the movie series?
Fairly well versed on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like an up and down um scholar, but fairly well versed. Yeah, we just did what was the latest one? Romulus?
Romulus,
We
yeah.
just reviewed that one not too long ago over there on Verno's channel. Yeah, thanks for shouting that out. Make sure you check out Verno. He's doing a great job over there. But yeah, I don't of course the first two ones are really up there for me. Um I'm interested to see what kind of Hulu does with the franchise and where they take it. I really liked what they did with Predator and Prey. I thought that was a really strong movie. Did you see that? Did you enjoy it?
I loved Prey, dude. I
Yeah,
thought
man.
Prey was like fantastic.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, I liked Romulus enough, but um, I just recently watched on your recommendation the one before that you're a big fan of. What's it called?
Oh,
With
Covenant, Alien Covenant, yeah.
yeah, with Fassbender, that one was fantastic. I yeah, that's probably like one of my more favorites of the of like the recent ones. I guess the recent smattering of alien properties. What's your history with it? And are you a big fan of the franchise?
I became a big fan of the franchise, dude, but I still have vivid memories of my parents watching part 3 and me just like being in my room, supposed to be going to sleep, but hearing all of the events that were taking place and being absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, like terrified, like out of my mind, like so scared of like just the thought of what could be happening with these aliens. I caught glimpses of what one looked like, and it was like pure nightmare fuel for me. As I grew older, though, I love the movie series. I think it's one of the strongest, like, yeah, like whatever, like long-standing sci-fi horror series that you could think of. There's really only a couple misses, and even those misses have their moments of fun to be
Very
had with
true.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and plus it runs the gamut of like basically like genre bending a little bit because you have like your haunted house in space kind of story, and then you have your militaristic kind of storyline with the sequel, and then they just kind of keep going back and forth and back and forth and changing how they approach every single one of these movies. So
Yeah.
I love it. I have a
And,
deep
and the
deep love for aliens.
Yeah, and the design, like the whole aesthetic to it is fantastic. The creature design, whether it's
Oh,
the
mwah.
face huggers or the xenomorphs or the engineers, they all look awesome. And it's such a great visual film that stays with you in that way. And I love that they had what's his name, H.R. Geiger involved in it back in the day, and they really went heavy on that because I think it's really paid off in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about this too, like That movie, I don't remember the exact year that the movie came out, but I'm fairly confident it was the late 70s that the first Alien movie hit. And dude, like
Yeah, I
people
think like 79, wasn't it, or something?
that, right? And people were fascinated. They were like just taken aback by the thought of what that huge freaking chair was that they come across before they actually find the first facehugger. So much though that 30 years later, they make the movie that answers that question. Like
Right?
a
I love
series normally do that. We normally don't even get that with the nostalgia fuel that we get with most of these movies nowadays, but they I don't know. It's a beautiful thing that Ridley Scott did with his portion of the movies here and everything else, all the sprinklings of all the other kinds of movies. Beautiful. I love this series. So
Yeah.
I say that to say it was weird that we were going to get an Aliens versus Avengers book, but it's been such a pleasant surprise. This issue picks up right on the heels of what was happening in issue number 2, where basically Earth has been overtaken now. They said, like, there's no turning back. We got to leave. Tony Stark has basically his tower that is much more than a tower. It's actually a ship that blasts off. They abandon some of the heroes on Earth, including Captain America, in an effort just to make sure that they have enough human beings still alive to populate whatever new planet there could be. So this issue shows us a little bit about the history, like the mythology of these characters, as we see some of the engineers and we see the black goo that overtakes some of them, and we see that's the androids, as part of the alien mythology. They're kind of, working their machinations in the background too, and they've kind of let these spores out that attacked the greater populace of these engineers. All the while, these people take off from Earth, right? The last remnants of humanity, including a handful of superheroes, take off, and we're dealing with Hickman here. So he is still working within the landscape of like the Hickman verse, basically, right? So we're still dealing with a very Krakoa, very Arakko on Mars kind of X-Men team. And when they get there, they're gonna have to stop at Mars because the ship was damaged. And lo and behold, we got Sinister doing sinister
Yeah.
things. What was
I
your
love
opinion? Well, yeah,
I
what did you
love
think?
yeah, I love when they come into the spaceport and like Captain Marvel's like reminiscing, like, or they're, reminiscing. When was the last time you were here? It was, it was on business. And I remember it as a kid. It was the busiest spaceport I had ever seen. And like kind of like setting the stage for like the hustle and bustle of Arakko. And then like, yeah, they get off the ship and you're like kind of waiting with bated breath, and there's nobody around, and then you
It's
find
a
out
ghost
it's
town.
yeah, it's like, and then like Bar Sinister shows up, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh god. And yeah, this was like fantastic because the first two issues were really it was like, the aliens versus the Marvel universe. This was great because it really integrated it, in a fantastic way with the use of Sinister, and just the developments, we'll say, that
The developments, yeah.
yeah, the developments that he had made. But yeah, man, it was great. It was a great, I just love all the care that and the love that you could feel that Hickman has for this franchise and these properties, and the way he's melding it and together and just kind of creating this perfect gumbo is fantastic, dude. It's just and it feels so epic with Ribic behind him. We got it just feel it's fantastic. So you know you see books like him and Capullo and you have high hopes. But
You're
him,
gonna bring it up, aren't you? Are you gonna be the Debbie Downer this week?
no, I'm just saying it's not. He's not the guaranteed. He's still a great writer, and he's always going to produce an interesting book. But it's like not. I feel like it's not always a sure thing. Sometimes when you get these big names together with him,
Mhm.
and I know he wants it to be, but it doesn't always work out. But this is delivered on every level, and it's good to see it coming out. I hope it doesn't get like too delayed down the line. But I'm cool with the pace as it is now because each issue has been so amazing.
I'm kind of in that same vein, right? Where I'm just like, oh, another issue dropped. Like, okay, cool. Like it's out of continuity, so I don't care that I'm not getting it at those really quick intervals. So like I'm keeping up with the story because like this is gonna end up being, I think, a 6 issue series to
Yeah,
begin with. So like, yeah, like put it out bi-monthly, let it keep that high quality because, like you said, when you have Hickman and Ribic together, like that duo screams importance. Like it should mean something because they were the same team for Secret Wars. So even though this is out of continuity, it still has that gravitas behind it.
It does, man. That
Yeah,
sense of like cosmic epicness is there in full.
exactly. So the team ends up going to Araco. They find Bar Sinister. They find the ghost town, right? And we start to see what Sinister is up to. And you know that Sinister is never up to any good, period, full stop. And we see our team of X-Men, our X characters with freaking face huggers already attached to their faces, man. And that was, for me, that was an exciting notion because you know that the xenomorphs have the ability. They basically take on the evolutionary path of the people that's, you know, that they're attached to, right? So each xenomorph is going to be a little bit different. And when you saw Colossus on there, I'm like, holy crap. Like, what does that even mean? Are we going to get a metal freaking skinned xenomorph? And how are they going to deal with that? Like, that's terrifying.
That's
in the worst possible way.
Yeah, I love it though.
The only thing that I would argue that might be more terrifying is freaking Sinister with a face hugger gun. Dude, he is so maniacal. And Assad Ribic does such a great job rendering his face on that scene when he shows up to all the humans, right? So the heroes go to find the X-Men, but all the other, you know, remnants of humanity are left on the ship. So what does Sinister do? All the Sinister clones go and gather up there. And I love how innocent it is. Like, one of the guys just like, well, hey, man, like, what you got there? What's in your hands there? Oh, this? It's a face hugger gun. Boom, 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 boom. And he starts taking people out like crazy, like no remorse. And he looks like he's having a freaking blast doing it. Sinister is such a piece of crap, dude. And he does it so well.
This is such an amazing invention, man. This like definitely the high point of the book. And like, yeah, it looks like he has the xenomorphs under his command. Did it not? Like after he gives his kind of speech and then kind of, you know, they kind of come out there in the top right from behind the mound. It kind of looked like, so, you know, the creatures that are infamously impossible to control, it kind of looked like, I don't know, maybe he had figured something out. Did you notice anybody else besides Colossus on the incubation?
I think I saw Colossus, and I think I saw Magic in the background too. I think that's Magic right there.
Okay.
We only caught a glimpse of a handful of them though, but we do know that that the surviving X-Men, if you will, there was Armor, there was Logan, Emma Frost, Manifold, and I think that was it. There might be one more that I'm missing here, but essentially that was like the last mutants that were surviving on Mars itself. So they're able to team up with our, you know, remaining other superheroes that were just coming from Earth. And I guess let's pick up from that point. What was your opinion on the fact that we see some of our heroes meet their untimely death in this issue, particularly Tony Stark? How did you feel about that? Did you see that one coming?
No, man, definitely not. You know, I didn't even. It was crazy, even that scene when, you know, they're deciding what to do when they land and he's getting off the ship, and, you know, Spider-Man's like, how are you know, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, bro, but you're in a wheelchair. And he's like, it's not a chair, it's a suit. You know, and he suits up in Iron Man.
That was a cool moment, though.
It was a great moment. It's a fantastic moment. And then, you know, walking, you know, going in, and then they had that exchange, and they were getting overrun by the xenomorphs. And yeah, that was crazy because you found out later that like they watched it from afar and they got completely overrun and it didn't look good. So I wonder, I don't think we got word about Miles, but it didn't look good for him. And yeah, man, I don't know. It was sad to see Tony go, because obviously, you know, played a huge role in getting them off Earth and, you know, trying to keep humanity alive. But that was just awful when they were there initially greeting and talking to Sinister, and then the alarm went off on the ship. That was just brutal. And then yeah, it's like that that comedic element where, you know, like you said, it's just it's so innocent. Want to know what this is? What? It's a face hugger gun. It's like, oh shit. It was fucking great.
It's like, were you ever the kid, basically, like back when you were little, that you got the Super Soaker 100 when everyone else had the Super Soaker 50, and you're just like, ha ha!
Exactly,
that was
dude.
Sinister.
Come out with the heavy artillery. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all in all, this felt big. It felt weighty. It, you know, maybe it's nice that it's out of continuity because they're able to take big freaking swings with this, because I think that's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And the issue then ends kind of like picking up where we started, because remember, we had Black Panther and the Wakandans kind of meeting up with a faction of the Xenomorphs and doing battle with them, and now Wakanda has returned just in time, maybe to save the day. We don't really know what it means that they're back, but they're here. We got a bunch of Xenomorphs, and stuff is about to hit the fan for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You don't know what's on those ships. We hope it's something good. You know what I mean? We hope
yes. It could be a bunch of freaking, you know, Xenomorphs decked out with vibranium. I don't know what it is, but it could be bad. Could be good.
Xenomorphs in panther suits. No.
Man.
Let's say what up to the chat real quick before we.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's talk about who's here with us tonight. Here, starting off with Edson here.
Edson, what up, man?
Talking about his favorite books being Batman and Robin Year 1, number 5, and G.I. Joe number 4. Yes, awesome picks. And then cover grab the Conan 18 McLean variant. Dude, if you got Conan last week, I'm incredibly jealous because my shop just got it today. Yeah. I'm so excited to be able to dive into it, man. But yeah, kudos to you. Great picks there.
Check out the McLean variant. I haven't been
very good.
Is 7th Sword done, or did they stop at 6, or are they coming back?
No, in fact, there was supposed to be an issue that drops today.
I do have that one in the box. But
nice.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'll get it eventually. But yeah, who knows? We got Simpleton hanging with us, man. Simpleton, what's going on?
Simpleton, what up, brother?
When in doubt, just hang tight, and Simpleton will make you a hardcover for sure, man. He's great at that kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
We got Nick from Comic Culture here, running errands, but shared the video out. Thank you, man. We appreciate that. Have fun with your errands. And we know that it definitely can't be as fun as you would be having if you were with us, but that's okay.
Yep. Can't win.
Let's see here. Loved Aliens as a kid and loved Prometheus and Romulus right now. Dude,
Prometheus, great call.
Yeah, Prometheus was awesome. I feel like they just got better and better with each one. Prometheus, it feels better nowadays than it did when I first watched it, because I had such high expectations for what the heck that thing was supposed to be in the sea. And of course, like when you have high expectations, it's hard to live up to that. But nowadays, it's a cooler movie to watch. Covenant gets even better. Romulus is just like the perfect marriage of everything that makes Alien awesome, though. I love that.
Fassbender is the tie that binds, dude. Like, he is the man in this. I love that scene, and when he's talking to, I think it's in Prometheus, when he talks to the engineer, and the engineer like touches his head, and you think he's gonna like caress / embrace him, and he just rips it off.
Boom! Yeah.
He's so fantastic.
But somehow he gets a new body and still.
Oh, for sure.
He makes a mess of things.
Oh yeah, he gets his get back. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Paul hanging with us. Hi from Bangkok. Man. Hey, man, Paul, thank you for hanging with us, man. That's awesome.
Dude. That's awesome. Thanks for coming through.
We got Omega with us here. It's another Wednesday. Just got back from the shop. Awesome, dude. Let us know what you picked up here, man. There's a lot of good comics that were released this today.
Solid week.
For sure. We got Fable hanging with us. The infamous One collection down. Make sure you're always checking out the all new, all different Blame Fable show every single Friday,
9 p.m. Eastern.
That's right. Let's see. For last week, I got to go with World Tree and of course New Gods. I dipped out of World Tree really early on because quite frankly, I was confused. I'm a simple man with simple needs, and that one was making my brain work overtime. So let me know if I need to drop back in on that.
Robbie just had it as his pick of the week, dude. I gotta.
Really?
Yeah, this latest issue. I got to get back. I got to see what it's talking about again.
Dang, man. Am I going to have to read this before the best comic show of the month here? Maybe.
I don't know. That's a lot of issues I got to catch up on. I think I dropped.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I don't know if I got aren't they at 13 or 14 now? I don't know if I got 10 issues away.
Oh, no. I'm way more comfortable saying I didn't read that one.
That's a book you just can't. I don't feel like you feel like there's a book you can read back to back to back. Like, I feel
No.
like it's almost better to experience it monthly. You know what I mean? Because I feel like collected is just going to make you so depressed. I don't.
Yeah, dude, it was not a happy-go-lucky kind of book, man.
No,
I
it
don't know
was
if I want to live in that world for longer than a half an hour.
exactly,
Jesus.
exactly. But yeah,
Helps
I
machine
think I
again.
dug the concept. I think it's definitely got. I could definitely see
I
it.
don't even know if I know what the concept was at that point. I remember there were naked people, there was killing, and there was maybe an explanation, but I don't think I got with that explanation. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our next book here, which is going to be Storm, which
Yes.
I think I have an explanation for this one. I think I definitely have more of an explanation than I ever would have for World Tree. But Storm number 5 here, written by Mirawa Aodeli with artwork by Lucas Wernick. Dude, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this, considering the fact that you've been talking with John from John's Comics with Kids, going over the Doom Omnibus, and there's a big portion of that has a lot to do with Storm. And we talked about Storm the last time an issue came out, I believe, too, when she first kind of set foot on Latveria, right?
Yeah, man. We talked about last night. We talked. What was it? 145, I think, through 147 when she, they first got together with Arcade. But yeah, I don't know. It's been amazing in this series. And again, in issue 4, they had dinner again together, which is such a hallmark of their relationship, of the two of them sitting down, having pleasant conversation and sharing a meal. Get some of our best moments between the two from that. So yeah, it's been a delight watching her interact with Doom on Latvian soil, and especially here, stand her ground. A couple great, beautifully illustrated scenes between the two of them by Wernick. But yeah, how have you dug the back and forth between the two?
I love it. I think it's
Yeah,
fantastic. This is very quickly becoming my favorite book that comes out from Marvel. And I don't even think that I don't even think it's a competition, to be honest. This book
dude.
is crazy ambitious. Like so ambitious, in fact, that this issue starts at the beginning of time. It begins like at the onset, the big bang of the 616 universe. Like what the hell? Like who saw that coming? Like we know that Storm's been dealing with this infection, this whatever, this thing that's basically been killing her. But she went to Brother Voodoo, kind of got a fixin' for what was ailing her, but he said basically you cannot use your powers. That's a big no-no. You're going to be cut off from that, otherwise there's going to be ramifications. And we see that she's forced to use her powers in the last issue, and big things happen. That's all I can really say right now is that big things happen. Well, we get to see what those big things are right now, because we are dealing now with basically like I don't know, the manifestations of like universal concepts at this point. Basically, we have Oblivion, we have the living tribunal, and we have Eternity that are kind of going back and forth. They're playing this uneasy game of chess right now, and we see that basically there's this ongoing battle back and forth between power, and Eternity keeps wanting to battle Oblivion, and Oblivion keeps choosing a champion. I'm sorry, let me flip-flop that. Eternity keeps choosing a champion, and Oblivion keeps messing them up. So now, knowing that Storm basically had this ailment, has been chosen as the avatar to be the champion of this universal concept now, and has become this all-powerful universal being. It's freaking wild, man. Like I know my thoughts about like what this all means to me, I guess, but like what was your thought about like the grand scope of what the heck they're trying to do here?
Oh, it's fantastic, man. And it's like seeing Eternity made me smile, man. That's like the old school Marvel. You know what I mean? It's
I
just,
love that stuff.
yeah, it's same, dude. It takes me back to Kirby and all that stuff. It just, um, yeah, it hits me right in the feels, and it's fantastically, like so fantastically, beautifully, amazingly, like illustrated. Like you said, they're swinging for the fences in the big way, and there's so many just like wow. So many times I turn the page, it's just like whoa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Wernick is going for broke, and there's just so many showstoppers, and the character design is fantastic. I love Oblivion. I love the way the action is depicted. It's visceral, it's violent when it needs to be, it's beautiful when it needs to be. It's, you know, it's epic all the time. um it's just been, it's been a joy. And the way it just, we kind of took off, I don't want to call it more grounded because last issue, because it still was doing crazy things, but man, we just blasted off in this issue.
Right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? It was an incredible trip through you know, really the story of Eternity and Oblivion and the back and forth. And I love how, you know, even though they're gods and beings on the, you know, the largest of scales, like they're still petty and bound to trial by combat.
Yes.
It's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, trial by combat. But yeah, and I love the ending too, when, you know, who are you going to choose as your champion, and then, you know, it's just that shot of Storm crying. It was fantastic, man. But yeah, and I really love the moment when the being came down here and was gonna smite Doom, and, you know, he said, you know, the person you're inside of right now, the person you're possessing won't let you do that, and if you do try to do that, she's going to take you over. And like, it was really great how Wernick just, so you saw the shaking of her hands, you know what I mean, as she tried to fight that truth. It was so fantastic. And she's like, oh, so you know my vessel well, or whatever, Dr. Doom. It was I love that little moment. Oh, it was so fantastic and true to the character of Aurora.
I like how eloquently you put that, because if I were the person in your shoes having to describe that scene, I would have said, Doom didn't look at Storm and said, bitch, please. And then she pieced out.
Yeah, it was great though how he addressed, like, even Doom. And then what did he say? Like, as she flew out the window, like, you know, Doom's, I don't know. We're not done for now. We're done for now, but we're not done in the long run, or something like that. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Doom says when Doom's done. So
I love how this book is like not afraid to show the ramifications of these ideas, right? Like, when I say that they're playing with these big, bold ideas, it's not so much that like, oh, like universal things are happening over here, but Latvarian things are going on over here. Like, they take an entire page to show, dude, like, the concept of heaven is impacted by things that are going on right now. Asgard is being impacted by things that are going on. Earth is being impacted. Jean, who is out in the cosmos right now, nowhere near Earth, she senses the things that are going on right now. So like,
moment.
Yeah, this is big. These are not things to be trifled with. There are big things happening to Storm. And what I said in my review when I was talking about this book, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but this feels like a spiritual successor or spiritual sequel to the Gods book that we had with Jonathan Hickman. It doesn't necessarily pick up with the same characters that we had there, but it's picking up on a lot of the big ideas and a lot of the concepts, and obviously the universal beings as well. Like, they're playing their parts in all of this. It feels very, very much connected to some of the world building that Hickman was trying to do.
And well, I got to be honest, I didn't finish Gods just because it was, I don't know, it was kind of like all over the place for me, and
it was heavy, dude.
I just couldn't stay with it. This, I feel like, executes things on a grand, you know, in a grand cosmic way, but does so where it's not super complicated story wise, right? They don't overload it with a whole bunch of exposition or you know, characters, or, you know, I just like the simple story structure of it, even though they're doing crazy, like you said, crazy ambitious things. You know, I like how accessible it is, and it, you know, it's a great spot to be 5 issues in.
For real, yeah. And I think you said it great right there too, and that was arguably one of the missteps of Gods, is that it was not accessible at all. Like, that was a weird, wild book that I feel like was rewarding if you stuck around and you finished it out. But man, like, you kind of had to like work at it. You had to get through the first 3 issues to try to find your footing, and like you were in a dark room and you did not have a flashlight.
I bet like if I grab it collected, and I'll like eat it up and run through it and really enjoy it. But it's like I think when it was trying to do a lot of that setup and structure in those first couple issues, when it was, you know, just picking up those individually and read them when they're not connected right there for you can be tough sometimes. Just it's a lot of work. You're doing it, you know, you're involved. Okay, here we are, and you put it down. You come back to it in 30 days, sometimes longer than that, and it's you know, I don't know. So that one I'm really curious to reread in collected form and see what my experience is, because I think it'll be totally different.
That is true. Yeah, I think that it might be a worthwhile one. I should maybe do that myself as well. Before I do that, though, we had a couple more people join us in the chat here. So let's say hi to some of the more peeps here, starting with Christina Payne. Craziest moderator out there. She's everywhere. In fact, I would be willing to bet she's on 5 different streams right now, but she's still taking the time to hang out with us. And for that, we appreciate it.
Because we're the best.
That's right. Let's see here. We got DC Patrol hanging with us as well. DC just put out a video today showing his haul, man. Great stuff that he was picking up. In fact, I think he also got the Andrew McLean variant of Conan, man. That's a popular freaking book. So keep your eyes open for that one. Yeah, and we got Nick here saying, yeah, Gods was low-key great. Oop. And we had DC also saying, yeah, this issue of Storm was great. It was. Yeah, this was wild, man. Storm somehow just finds a way to keep ramping up over and over and over.
Awesome book.
And we got Rooster Blue that just joined us here. Rooster,
what up, Rooster?
Hey, buddy.
Thanks for coming through, bro.
All right. Well, with that,
you said what? Did we say what up to Phelps?
If not, I would not be mad about saying what up to Phelps 2 times in a row here.
What up,
man.
James?
James, always good to see you, buddy.
Bro. Yeah,
good looking out, man.
Well, you probably got him. I'm just being an idiot. I don't know.
Nah. Never enough, James. All right. Let's see here. That does it for Marvel for us. So let's dive into our DC showcase here. Stu, I'm going to let you go ahead and take this one, man. Why don't you talk about Batman and Robin Year 1, number 5?
Yeah, man. I just absolutely adored this one from, you know, the cover. This was like one of my favorites of the week. We'll see it again at the covers of the week. I'm going to go ahead and spoil that now. I thought it's fantastic. And again, the work Sam Nee is doing here. Also, Lopez on the coloring. Unbelievable work throughout. Let's go ahead and throw up some of this art. Yeah, we still have this rebelliousness starting off. I love how we usually start off these issues on the human aspect of Bruce and Dick trying to coexist and live together and kind of find their way. You know, and balance their relationship out. But yeah, he's gotten thrown out of another school. I think, what was the frame of time that it took him?
Days. It was measured in days for sure.
Yeah. But he took, the teacher said something about the class being like a circus, and he took that as like a slur, basically, because he grew up in a circus, and, you know, he was trying to explain where he's coming from to Bruce, who didn't want to hear it, and was I love how he said, what did he say? I waned the principal into letting you come back and giving you a second chance. And Alfred's like, sir, did you just use Wayne as the verb?
Yeah.
Fantastic writing. Fantastic writing right there by Wade. I love how the humor is always there, and that triangle between those three. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, and you know, the rift between them kind of furthers when they go out on patrol. You know, Gordon's kind of irked at Batman when they show up to the he shows up to the signal, and Robin's being all boy wonder with it, you know, commissioner, and he wants to talk to Batman over in private and like to kind of discuss the clues that's going on, and that obviously hurts Robin's feelings, and so he wants to you know, keep him at home, and you know, he doesn't want to let him go on patrol, and obviously Robin disobeys that, and that ends up getting him in a bunch of trouble because some Grimaldi's men see him out and about, and he notice that he's alone and decide they're going to take him out. Meanwhile, Batman, or rather Bruce Wayne, initially is at this party, and is rubbing shoulders with this guy. He's known to, I don't know exactly what his story was, but he basically notices that he has a tattoo that he had removed previous, and he notices through small bits of conversation and physical cues that he's not who he says he was. So he follows him upstairs where Homeboy's got a dead body in the closet, and we get this great fight with Clayface. Dude, what did you think about this incarnation of Clayface? I love that he put on the mask and he was being all weird. Like, he didn't go full on super monster with it. He still kept it like, I really like the element of weirdness about this version.
Yeah, he was still a very gooey. He wasn't like the big
Yes.
hulking beast version of the Clayface. Like we didn't get delivered that yet. I feel like it could be coming, but it was grotesque. There's no two ways about it. Like when Bruce is like trying to just like wrangle him in basically, and he's got his batarang with the wire on it, and he cuts it just like you would like if you were sculpting, and you were grabbing a block of clay, just right through his freaking leg. And I mean, even Batman was disgusted by the notion of what just happened. He's just like, "Whoa, that normally doesn't happen with a leg when I do that. That's not normal. That's not right." So it was a really cool fight scene, really really well crafted. I'm just having a blast. The first half of this issue was awesome, and like going back to the Dick Grayson portion of it as well. I love that Dick basically went full on Michael Jordan mode. Like he's just like, yeah, the principal and the teacher said some crap, and I took that personally. And then all of a sudden it became game 7 for him, and he wasn't going to let any of that stand. And he wasn't wrong either. Like, if your parents had just died and the only upbringing you knew was the circus, and someone was bad mouthing that to you, dude, like,
Yeah,
it's great. I love that part of the character growth for him,
absolutely.
that he stood up for that as well. Like, would I still have the Bruce reaction? Maybe, kind of a little bit. But like,
I
he
love
wasn't
that
wrong.
scene too, though. Like when he asks, he's like, "Did you grow up in a circus, Bruce?" And there's that scene where Bruce is just like silent, looking out the window. That like one little panel. I thought that was super powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a back and forth between these characters, and we're only 5 issues in, but you feel like it's getting harder for each one of them to like deal with one another, but you also feel like there's cracks that are showing in each one of their armor where they have to let each other in just a little bit too.
Yeah, and I like for a minute there when Robin was getting teamed up on, I really thought he was gonna pull it out and be okay. And I just love how he didn't lose his bravado. But yeah, look at these colors, man. I love,
Oh,
especially when he's kicking those dudes that blast a yellow behind him. It's so
oh
good.
yeah. Dude, it's vibrant, man. And that's the thing. That's the great part about Mateus Lopez and their approach on the colors is that it evokes like a classic feel to these books. This is the
Yeah,
same style of coloring that we got in year 1 proper from Miller and Mazzucchelli. So like the fact that they're leaning on that color palette again and like giving you those feelings, man, it's like, even if I got this without like the title of year 1, it would be just as effective. But knowing that they're leaning into that classic feel too makes it even that much better. Just kind of like seeing the honor that they're putting behind the name of that. It shows that they're not taking this for granted, and this isn't just like we're gonna slap year 1 on the title to sell some books. Like, no, this is serious business.
absolutely. It's got that. I love how it's got that gritty like year 1 tone to it, but it's like the story itself has also got that retro, like fun, old school Batman and Robin vibe to it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
but there's elements of it that are also really dark, like Clayface here, Grimaldi, just there's elements of it that are really like dark and scary and street level. But I don't know. There's so many great elements of the Bat canon and great Bat comics that it pulls from. That's one thing I really love about this. It's like a
yeah.
love letter. It's a love letter to year 1 and a lot of other things. So
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad we didn't get the big hulking beast of the Clayface too, because like it kind of keeps things a little bit more grounded. Like, I mean, if you have a person that could like mimic themselves over another person based on the fact that their body can shift and change that way, like you can't be that grounded, but it's like the most grounded version of it that you could possibly get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, of course, the issue ends in peril because Dick Grayson had gone out basically on patrol by himself while Bruce was out dealing with the party and then investigating his friend here. You could see the Grimaldis already kind of know about their deal. They know the shtick, and they were definitely ready for him. So while he put up a fight, it wasn't quite good enough here. So
I love Grimaldi's line. He's like, "Don't worry, I don't hurt children, but I have no problem baiting a hook with one or with them or something like that." Like that was a great line to end the issue. And dude, I love what did you think about Robin's motorcycle? I thought that thing looked great.
Oh, dude, it looks awesome. It looks classic, but it's still, I don't know. It feels like slick and like, just, that looks awesome. You could definitely, you see that they're pulling from the 60s Batman show though, because that looks just like that Batmobile.
Yeah, great call. Absolutely.
Yeah, that looks fantastic though. This was an awesome issue. It was my pick of the week here.
I'm so excited to see this. Anytime I see this book coming, I'm excited for it, man. It's fantastic. Highly encourage you guys to get this one in singles. It's one you're going to want to have singles and collected. I hope they give us the collected with all the bells and the whistles, hardcover and extra art and all that good
artist
stuff.
Edition. Maybe,
please,
maybe.
I would love to see like the. Oh man,
I know.
Just the stripped down art on this would be amazing.
DC, if you're watching, if you're listening, and I know you are, just get it ready for us. Maybe send us a comp. Who knows? Because we love this book.
I will plug the shit out of that book.
Whoa! This was After Hours. I didn't realize this was that kind
of. You know what I mean?
All right.
I will plug that book so hard, GC.
Oh boy, hopefully moving on to a book that Stu will have a little bit more respect for here. Let's talk New Gods #3, written by Ram V.
Hold on, man. You didn't even give the chat a chance to talk about what they liked about Batman and Robin. You're just ignoring everybody. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Okay, all right.
Edson says Wayne as a bird was gold. Hell yeah, bro. Absolutely. Clayface with a mask was great. Yeah, man. I love that look.
That was pretty cool. Like where it felt different than anything that we've gotten from Clayface.
Yes. I hope to see him again. And
he's
like
not,
this made me excited to see more of the rogues gallery in this universe. And Two-Face is more traditional, but if we're gonna get like more original ideas like this, like I'm here for that. I want to see what else they can cook up.
Mm-hmm.
This art is like the perfect halfway point between Bruce, Tim, and Jimenez. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely get the retro vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. No, you're the best, bro. Thank you. Need any Kira slide with that bad boy?
I ain't gonna be mad if they do that, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. That would be sick. Rooster loved it. Yeah, man, it's so good. See, Nick knows what time it is.
He's leaning in.
Nick knows what time it is.
No, I'm not falling for that.
Sandy can yeah, he really does, man. He's doing incredible work. I love to see artists who've been around for a minute just get better and better. It's a beautiful thing.
Dude, yeah, Samney, I said it again. I'm just gonna lean on what I said in my video, dude. I dare I say he is my favorite artist right now. I feel like he is just, I don't know, perfect. He just hits every little beat that I want to see from the artwork in all of the books. So I don't know. It doesn't hurt that he was on a really fantastic Daredevil run in the past, but man, he gets better and better and better with each and every issue. So Samney, you're killing it.
Oh yeah. All right, now you can proceed. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I like you to pronounce all these names correctly and tell me their extensive backstories. Right, and I just really want you to lay out the family tree here,
dude. I like that you threw me under the bus because I was getting ready to be like, I'm so happy that you're going to explain to us what the hell happened in this issue. All right, well, I think together we're going to figure out what's going on here. So, New Gods #3, written by Ram V with artwork by Evan Cagle and Ricardo Federici here. I'll do my best here. we start off with Riccardo Federici, and we're dealing, dude, this is very similar to what we were just talking about with Storm. This is dealing with
Yeah,
big, bold ideas and making
that's
them
very
as
true.
digestible as you possibly can. But we pick up with Metron kind of waxing poetic about, how he sees things that are going to play out and what it means for this new god to be born. And then all of a sudden, like, we're basically shifted back in time to remember, like, when we're talking new gods, we're talking the fourth world, which means that there was a third world and a second world and a first world and yada, 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 and so on and so forth. Right. And we got glimpses of that first world with the source in the first issue, if I'm not mistaken. And now we got a glimpse of kind of like what the gods, forms that they took on and what they did within the second world and how that influenced everything and how that influenced the world and how it influenced the evolution, I guess, of humanity, as you see that some of these gods took the forms of people throughout history as well, whether they were barbarians or pharaohs, people finding fire for the first time, people building the temples, so on and so forth. So we're getting a history lesson basically within the first portion of this book. After that, though, we kind of deal with two stories. So we're dealing with the past right now, with the history lesson of what the new gods are, what the old gods, I guess, for lack of a better term, are. And then we're also dealing with what's happening in the present day with Mr. Miracle on his mission to find the new god, find the child, and protect him at all costs. So going back, I'm not going to ask you to explain or pronounce names because I'm not a jerk. What did you think about Federici's artwork here?
Awesome.
And what did you think about how they were taking those Kirby ideas and, I guess, displaying them and making them present for you?
It was incredible, dude. And I love the character design on these. The way they all looked, how they all looked like old world and huge. And I love that one scene where like they're all each of them are taking their followers through whatever land and encouraging them onward. I thought that was really cool. I especially like the what was it, the guy who split his thoughts into the mother and the father, basically. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, Federici's artwork was amazing, and I love how much of it there was. I was surprised by how much of this story was in this one,
like an even split, man. Like,
yeah,
we
this
haven't
was
gotten
like
that.
right. Before, it's just been a couple of pages in the beginning, correct? Like it hasn't continued throughout the issue and really shared a lot of time. So it was a pleasant surprise, but it was also very cool to see. And yeah, it's really I was Googling some of these names, trying to figure out where, if they were like original Kirby creations or what came from what, and it seems like some of these ideas hint at it, but I think a lot of this is also Rom kind of writing his own history and chapter into the scheme of things, because I don't know if like all three of these characters are Kirby creations. You know what I mean? Did any? I know that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with you. Like, I did the lightest of light amount of research on it, but I'm not a fourth world aficionado. Like, I don't know it like the back of my hand. I love Kirby. I love the artwork and approach, but I first of all, I always grew up a Marvel kid, so DC never really did it for me. Nowadays, man, feels like the tables have turned a lot when it comes to that. So I do want to do a deep dive and really understand this stuff more thoroughly. But in the brief research that I did, I couldn't find anything. Like, this feels very much like they were taking some of the Kirby ideas, especially with Metron right here, but then like building out the universe and expanding, like basically, yeah, being, not being destructive, but being, a vessel for creation and building out what it meant for the fourth world, third world, so on and so forth, and maybe how those incarnations influence one another.
And this Watcher character apparently showed up in Dark Metal, I think, or something like that.
Oh,
like the one there on the left. Yeah, but I think the rest of them are, yeah, like you said, they're ROMs, and like I love just the way these passages are like written, how it really feels like you're reading from like an old scroll, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or like some form of like some ancient text that got translated. It's really dope in that way. And I love how it's kind of integrated into the Earth's history, and um, you know, how the one idea became all of these central figures um, throughout history and ancient Egypt and so on and so forth. I thought it was really cool, man.
Yeah.
And I love it's just it's high art, man. It's uh super poetic prose from Rom when he's in this state, and Federici's artwork was, is it Federici or Federici? That's fucking me up.
Yes.
Fuck off. All right. Yeah.
I think it's Federici. I think when you get the double C, you get the CH noise. Or no, I take that back. Wait. Because it's Mazzucchelli, and his name is spelled the same way. So Federici, I believe it's Federici.
Okay. Federici.
Yeah, I'm taking a wild guess though, and I leave room to be wrong.
I love all the pairings they're doing with Kegel, like, and to tell these ancient old epic tales with Lonergan, and it's been fantastic. It's like to see. I wonder who we should see who we got on the next
You're
issue.
reading my mind. Let's see if I can figure that out. While I'm looking that up too, what I
think we did that like last issue, and we're like, ooh.
Yeah, we're like, oh crap! Like we got something special coming down the pipeline. So that the other thing is, like, I was a big fan of the book Last Gods. That's Philip Kennedy Johnson and Federici
I've always wanted to read that one.
It was really
cool. Fable's a big fan of that one too.
Yeah, it was pretty darn awesome. And one of the things about that artwork is that it so clearly emulates what you get from the old gods, right? The second world version that we get here. But when I'm looking at the onset, right, of the story being told, man, that artwork feels so much like Mike Huddleston, and it feels like some of the things that we got from the book Decorum in the past. I'm like, dude, this doesn't even feel like the same. Like, it feels kind of like the same artist, but man, like you could put these pages separate, and I'd be like, well, maybe it's not though. Like, maybe these are two different dudes. Like, and that's pretty cool that you could pull on that in two different ways. So I don't know. I was really excited by that part of it here. I'm still trying to pull up New Gods.
I'm trying
to. Here we go. New Gods. Did you find out?
I don't see anybody. It just says Evan.
Here we go. I got it. So, okay, issue number 4. No, it looks like this might just be a flat out. This just might be Evan Kegel. I don't think we're going to get a history lesson on this next issue. So that'll be interesting. And that probably spells out more so why we got so much Federici in this one too, was to kind of give a lot of that backstory here to lead into what was happening here. But we've waxed poetic on the backstory of this now. Let's talk about the recent stuff that's happening here. Kegel is doing awesome work, man. Like, I love the way that he is drawing these characters and drawing these action beats. We're seeing some awesome things here, man. The way that he's drawing Big Barda stopping that freaking that truck, the way that like Mr. Miracle is so like nonchalantly standing up on the taxi and basically it's like waving the missiles out of the way from hitting them. Man, like that artwork is so freaking clean. It's crazy. But we're introduced to a character that basically like says, hey, I had this invention that was meant to be able to transport us to any other new god at the moment.
Yeah, what's his name? He was in I want to say he was in Mr. Miracle too.
See, that's another blank spot because
Oberon. Yeah.
Oberon, okay.
Yeah.
So But
The
we find out that
scapegoat Sean.
machine wasn't able to do the thing that they wanted to, but it could kind of hone in on any kind of source being out there, meaning that this new child that has been born, it's going to be able to find out where that child is and where Mr. Miracle and Big Barda need to go. So I love that, and I love it also like gave an excuse for them to be like, you know, we got this baby here. We kind of don't want to bring it out into a battlefield. So here you go. Here you go. That you take this now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
he kind
What
of
did
had
you
to.
think about the coda of the issue though?
Yeah, I think I love how he kind of had to remind them that, like, yeah, don't forget you got a kid. Somebody
Yeah,
might want to
exactly.
watch that. Yeah. Hold on, blow me up real quick. I wanted that Barda artwork reminded me of this Carrie Andrews Hulk cover. We can get it.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, I love the ending. Yeah, it was. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all. I don't know how it all goes down. Do you think he's gonna have to fight Big Bro? You think Big Bro's gonna come back in the picture?
He has to,
Um,
right?
yeah.
If you introduce a gun in Act 1, it has to go off in Act 3.
Yeah, I'm just curious who else from the new Genesis family is gonna play a major part in this, and you know, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna really make people pick sides, and um, that'll be curious.
Yeah.
I love this. I don't know. It reminds me of Uncanny X Force with the baby apocalypse. This baby dark side or whatever we got going on here. But I
Dude,
did like
yeah.
I like the story of you know how this energy will remanifest itself to its people when it's needed, type of thing.
Mhm.
I like that little intro. But yeah, man,
Yeah. And it makes it
such a
like
strong ending.
cyclical, like this was always meant to happen.
Exactly. But yeah, such a strong ending from Cagle, and that Barta stopping that truck is one of those all time pages.
Yeah, yeah. The imagery that he's working with here is awesome, which makes me, you know, I'm gonna miss if we don't get another guest artist to do like a little portion, but I'm not gonna be mad either because like I've really loved what Cagle was doing with all of
No,
his
and
art each and every issue.
he got off on the title page too with that big battle, that big double splash of the battle that was going on. You know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
on
Yeah, the
Apocalypse, I guess.
gladiatory. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool seeing
Yeah.
Granny Goodness and all the family got away. It'll be interesting. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see one how they resurface and what happens on New Genesis now that it's seemingly unstoppable forces is heading there. And this is concurrent, right, with what's happening down here on Earth, and these two, like, right,
Yeah.
all this is happening at the same time. Okay, yeah, it's
That's
gonna
the way
be
I take it, at least. Yeah, and New
yeah, it's
Genesis
gonna be
is jacked up because Highfather is not quite all there
yeah,
right
dude.
now either.
They're screwed. I mean, even if they were in good shape, I mean, the forces they got coming at them, the way they just rolled over Apocalypse. I mean, yikes.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
it's not going to be great.
yeah, I don't know. So I can't wait to see how all that affects the story.
All right. Well, let's see if anyone in the chat here can explain to us any better than we have done about what was going on with this issue here. Nick offering no answers whatsoever here. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you. We got yep. Yeah, New
Yeah,
Gods is
man,
great. Yeah,
they're
absolutely. It
great.
is. Let's see here. We got Rooster Blue saying both these artists are monsters. Honestly, I wouldn't have mattered to me if the story was trash. Yeah, I
I
mean,
kind of agree with that though.
you're not wrong at all,
Nah,
dude.
man, I still
Luckily,
would
the
have shown
story
up
is
too.
not trash. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We got Omega saying, yeah, we pretty sure that was a fresh take from Rom. Yeah, I think so too. Like again, not an aficionado, but I could not find anything that was going on with that. Let's see. Happy I dabbled in reading some of the Fourth World books, even though Rom said no pre-reading necessary. Yeah, I don't know how true that statement necessarily is. I'm going in pretty darn, fresh-eyed, pretty green, but I'm wishing that I read maybe just a bit more. Let's see here. We got Conlon hanging out with us.
What up, bro?
Nice seeing
Thanks
you, buddy. We got excitement building here, though. Felipe Andrade on issue number 6. When he works with Ram V, that's special. That means something. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see here.
I read the Mr. Miracle, but I haven't read any of the Kirby.
I need to go back and read Mr. Miracle. Quite frankly, I don't.
Mr. Miracle makes you familiar. You get familiar with the whole family. But I think, like, in certain cases, going through the Kirby Fourth World, you know what I mean, would be better in this, just to kind of to be able to see the bigger picture better.
Well, speaking of seeing the bigger picture here, Nick, your book report is due next week, so make sure you have that handy since you have the 2 absolutes. Yeah. So, chop.
He's done everything with the books except read them. He's done taking pictures of them and posted them.
Oh yeah, he's showing them
off. Showing them off on the blaming. Time to read them, bro.
All right, and that does it here for our DC books of the week here. So we're gonna slide on over to the indies here, starting with. Do you mind if I take this one? Would it be okay? Is it okay if maybe I talk a little bit about Power Fantasy?
So, yeah.
Whew. Thank you. I've been waiting. I've been waiting so freaking long here. Power Fantasy number 6, written by Kieran Gillen, artwork by Casper Vingard.
Hold on.
This is just an exciting.
We got to bring on the biggest Power Fantasy fan.
Hold on.
So you caught up?
Wait, what are we talking about? Power Fantasy?
Oh, we're talking about Power Fantasy for sure.
Oh, that's my favorite.
So tell me.
Time. Let's do it.
Yes. All right. So. Okay, now I got to ask the question. I know that Stu is ride or die with Power Fantasy with me here. Have you caught up?
Oh, yeah. I read 6 issues in one day.
Sounds like a fan to me, bro.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was going to say.
I read all 6 in that one day. Yep.
If you didn't love it, maybe you would have stopped here. Let's talk about issue number 6 here. We pick up a little bit kind of with the understanding of our character who has now become part of the U.S. government. Basically, he's the president's right-hand man. But more importantly, we're seeing the cracks between all of these different factions. We have Aton, basically, that can control people's minds. We got Heavy, the all-powerful cult leader, basically. And then we have the person here who is within the U.S. government here. All of them have had an uneasy alliance where they've kind of held everything together, trying to make sure that the superpowers don't, in fact, destroy the world, but is there maybe for its benefits? Possibly, but they're also individuals of big ego, a lot of pride, a lot of bravado there. But we find out that to be an atomic, which is the name of a superpowered being within this universe, it's not a genetic thing. It's not handed down from parent to child. It's kind of just willy-nilly. It just can happen at a moment's notice. But it was prophesied that Heavy would have a child, and that child would be an atomic. And if you're an atomic, not only are you a person, you're essentially a freaking nuclear weapon, right? And a deterrent of these things happening here. So having this cult-like following and having this orb, this place that they have been, they've secretly been able to basically keep Aton's mind controlling and telepathic powers out of there. So the fact that he has a child, has another superpowered being, has been completely held secret from all of the other people, even though they are kind of technically sort of working together here. So that was a huge revelation of this issue here. What were your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was incredible, dude. I love Heavy's one of my favorite characters. I think I am Team Heavy.
You're Team Heavy?
I think I'm going Team Heavy.
Wow.
I don't know. Etienne just, I don't know, man. I like Etienne, but he's a little too much for me. And I feel like he is. He's
great. I'm afraid to say that I'm Team Aton now.
He's the most ambitious. All right, let me ask you this: do you think when Homegirl, do you think she knows that she's being controlled by him when she got up in the middle of the night and texted him, Heavy has a kid that's a superpower, and he was like, oh dear? Do you think he's controlling her without
she's not? She's in with him, right?
Yeah, in
Okay.
fact, yeah, she's in with him. In fact, if you read the back matter of the issue, which like it's actually really, really good stuff. Like Kieran like does a good job of kind of explaining the world and explaining the ideas. And that was one of the first things he says. Like he's like, first and foremost, Tanya was not being mind controlled.
Oh shit, I didn't read that.
Very obvious. Well, I shouldn't say very obviously, but for the instinct like purpose
First
to
and
show
foremost,
like,
idiot.
well, but it was to also show, remember, she was just sleeping with Heavy, and to have that kind of big idea is like, I'm not going to go ahead and put rape in my book. Like, that's not a thing that I'm going to do.
Okay, I see what you're
So,
doing.
yeah, exactly. So she's doing this of her own will, which is even crazier now because, again, we're starting to see the cracks forming and like widening between all of these different.
Only reason I ask is because the art made it look like when she was all wide-eyed, like she was under some type of trance. You know what I mean? That's the artwork just kind of pointed me in that direction. Like she was asleep in the middle of the night, and ATM was like every night in the middle of the night, ATM was waking her up, making her go report what she had found out, and you know, because it was like nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So that's then I gotta read the afterward, obviously.
Or you can just talk with us because we'll fill you in.
Yeah,
we'll
thank
you
you.
in on
Thanks,
what's going
man.
on.
Yeah. I'll fill you in. I'm reading the book. I'll fill you in.
Yeah, Nick, 6 issues. What is going on? What could have compelled you to do such a thing?
I got so tired of you recommending this damn book, and then I knew it was going to be coming up on the monthly comic book review show, so I was like, I might as well jump on board and just bite the bullet and get through it. And honestly, it did take me about 2 issues to get through it to realize what was happening inside the story. And I think it's a great story. I think the most compelling thing about the whole series in general is just the chess match that everyone plays against each other.
Mhm.
Everyone seems to be everyone seems to be a deterrent for everybody. Now, there's a hierarchy that we explore in the very beginning of this book and throughout the series in general. But in the beginning of this book, it kind of tells you like their omega powers, right? Like how many mega deaths they can perform per hour or something like that. It's incredible.
How many
it's
estimated
like,
kills per hour? Yeah,
kills per hour were like 600 billion per hour. So like there's an X-Men omega level kind of thing going on with these characters. And I love how everyone is basically a deterrent for the other person. You have to play these relationships very carefully. In the previous issue, we had the artist who has the kaiju that comes up when she's killed, and everyone's afraid of this chick. And it's just like, whoa, even the 600 million megaton death people are scared of this chick. You know what I mean? So it's a really interesting story about, all these different like god-like beings keeping each other in check, and they're not successful sometimes. And then keeping the people at bay too, because they have an image they have to uphold, and they have to make sure that the stupid humans aren't going to do anything dumb to piss one of them off that's going to wipe everything out. And it's just such a cool little chess game that they're playing.
And as we learn in issue number 1, the stupid humans can be stupid, and they can do things that are going to have ramifications here, which causes, again, Aton to kill the president and all of the people around him in the White House.
Everyone around him.
Yeah, it was
really cool.
That was wild.
And the justification is really cool.
That was the scene that like sold me. Like, that was the scene I was in. Yeah.
The justification for that's cool too. He's like, listen, I understand everyone's heartbroken right now, but this is the only path we could have taken with the fewest amount of deaths possible.
Yeah.
Like, every other path would have been way worse. And I know
it was the philosophical thing. Like, do you, you're on a runaway train, do you change the tracks to kill
left
one
or right
person, or 5 people over here? It's like, there's no right answer, but there's a possibly best answer, but it's never good.
It's the worst of it's the best of the worst options, right?
Yep, exactly. So
anyway, proceed.
As we go through the rest of this issue, again, where we deal with the character that you were talking about here, the one that can manifest into a kaiju here, and you kind of still see that the character who has kind of chosen to be a little bit brainwashed and stay with this person and kind of keep her at bay. There's still an uneasy thing going on there, but things are kind of a-okay. But we get this look in the past, and this kind of like starts spelling out kind of the beginnings of the Atomics, how these alliances formed, the prophecy behind Heavy being able to have a child. But most importantly, it's revealed now that basically there is a superpower out there that negates the other superpowers, or basically acts as a polar opposite. Whereas some of these people, they kind of compare it to magnets, right? It's like 2 positive forces and they just repel each other. So it's kind of like Scott Summers and Alex Summers, they fight each other and their powers don't mean a damn thing, right? So it's kind of like that. But there's a superpower out there that can negate all of those things, or at least act as they could basically do damage to these people. So now all of them kind of are plotting and planning and being like, how do I get this person on my side? Like, we need to act wisely here. We need to start playing this chess game a little bit more so to make sure that this person is aligned with us as opposed to everyone else. So it's really laying out the board now, with this being the first issue of the second arc, to show that, again, like I talked about the cracks widening and deepening, like this basically almost splinters everything, because now they're all actively working against each other. They just don't know how active each party necessarily is. So yeah, this was an exciting issue, man. Like, this wrapped up in an awesome way. It got me even more ramped up to talk about power fantasy to everyone. I will still be preaching the gospel of this book over and over and over, but I'm just so excited. I'm so happy that you guys are freaking reading this book. I would rather talk about your guys' experience than the book itself. I'm just like, I'm elated right now, man. I'm so freaking beside myself.
Well, no, it's delightful, dude. I think Nick nailed it when he said, like, you know, it is a chess match between all these characters, and I love how quickly things can escalate in the biggest, you know, most profound way with these characters and their power sets. But yeah, I love, you know, the seeing the back workings of their relationships, you know, how we got to this stage. Homeboy who runs the pyramid kind of being in bed with the US government now, you know what I mean? And
yeah, how I don't know what that means either, because like,
no,
how much power does it offer him
too?
Yeah, because
it's volume based. He needs volume, right? Like, that's
because it's the people that believe in him that basically powers it, right? Yeah.
So the only way to get that quickly is to be part of that and to have a whole branch of the government created for it and everything else. Like, what is he, like the Secretary of Magic or something like that? Isn't that what they declared him or something?
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So now he's going to be just force-fed followers, and he's going to equip them with some cool tech at the same time, and like the other generals and whatnot. It's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is definitely ramping up to be something crazy. I don't know how long this series plans to go, but like, I could see this being, I don't know, 25 to 50 issues, somewhere within that sweet spot to tell like a really big, epic, grand story.
Yeah.
We're kind of limited by. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. That's all I wanted to say.
We're kind of limited by the characters. Like, I'm thinking like a saga. You know what I mean? Like, can this go 50 issues? We have a way of bringing in new characters, new powers, but like, it's kind of like a trick here. It was a prophesized thing, and the guy just acted on it. So like, there's no real way of producing more of these characters that we know of just yet. They did talk about a little bit about that. Like, nobody knows how this works. Like, they did bring that up.
Yeah.
But like, why would you? I mean, they brought it up to reinforce the idea that this kid is kind of an anomaly in the system that they know. But I wonder if if they can maybe do that again somehow to like create more, or maybe there's other beings from other planets. Like, I don't know if they want to get cosmic with this or not, but like, that would be interesting. But I would love to see this thing go like 50 issues and like turn into like a saga kind of a book, you know? That'd be great.
Somebody clip that, please. Take that clip, post it everywhere. But I think they do toy with the cosmic idea, because correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, a lot of the people, the ones that we spend the most time with, are earthbound people, right? They're essentially humans, if you will, that have been born and they just happen to have these powers. But then we also have Valentina, who is like the stand-in for like a Superman-esque character. And I don't believe they've gotten too far into her backstory, but she's kind of like,
she's the angel though, isn't she?
Exactly. But like, we have all these people,
devil, right? So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe these are more cosmic type entities that aren't necessarily Earth-based people that gained powers, but maybe I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that we can interpret that and where it could come from.
You're right, because heavy is a singularity, right? So like, so they could be so these beings can be constants. You know what I mean? They don't have to be flesh-bound, earth-bound creatures, like you just said. Like, I feel like you could almost get Kirby-esque, you know, you can almost have like an eternity. You can almost have, you know, or you could, from Marvel or DC, it doesn't matter. You can have concepts embody people and display their powers through them. And that's what we're seeing in here, essentially. They just are so different, you know, their power sets and where they might come from. But yeah, it's man, I don't know why you weren't pushing this book earlier. It's really, really fun, man. I had a great time reading it. I sat down and read all 6 issues almost in one sitting, and I was like, holy shit. by issue 3 or 4, I'm like,
It builds and
I
builds
get
and
it.
builds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first issue is brutal. It's a lot, man. But then after like issue 2 and 3, you're like, oh, okay. So
I can't disagree with you. Like it was really the end hook that got me, like seeing
of course.
how seeing how powerful they are and seeing the means that they will go to, I guess, keep everyone in check. That's when I was like, oh, they're not messing around. Like they're dealing with, like, they're not afraid to go there. But Omega here saying that the series is set up for at least 16 issues, but could possibly go twice as long. That could hit the sweet spot. Like, I mean, I would not be mad at 24, whatever, 28-ish kind of issues. I think that could tell a compelling story. I'd be excited for that.
Agree.
For sure.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. All right. I'm
Great
so
call,
happy.
brother.
Thank you.
Great call.
Thank you for all of this.
By
Let's
the
move
way,
on
that was
to-
Stu's fault, by the way. I just wanted to crash for that one book. I'm gonna bounce out of here. But yeah, I just wanted to surprise you, Eric.
You're welcome to hang around if you want, bro.
No, it's a school night. I gotta bounce, guys. Have a good night.
All right,
man.
All right.
Go
Thanks
work
for
on
coming,
reading
bro.
absolute stuff.
Holler. Bye.
Later. All right. That was nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into the last book of the night here with Nullhunter #5, written by Michael Walsh with artwork by Gustavo Vargas, the epic cyberpunk retelling of the 12 feats, the 12 labors of Hercules, if you will. Told in epic freaking fashion, man.
Yeah, it really
is. I'm not gonna lie, it's made me go back. So, like, in school, Greek mythology was my thing. That was like the thing that I loved more than anything that we ever, like, whatever,
I loved it
read
too.
about and researched.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, there's that book, Edith, I forget, Edith Hamilton or somebody, but Greek mythology, and it's got all the, all the standard tales in there. And I just remember growing up adoring, loving that book. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you though. I soaked that stuff up. I loved it so much. So, like, if you're gonna be telling the Hercules story, the myth about that stuff, like, I was gonna be in regardless. But seeing it under the microscope of a cyberpunk landscape and backdrop has been awesome. And this is the Aegean stables, and in the Greek myth portion of this, it's Hercules being tasked with this thing, basically knowing that it was a task that could not be completed, right? It was basically impossible. In the Greek mythology, it's a horse, a massive horse, basically, that knows no ends to its hunger. And through hunger, you have to release what you have eaten, right? So he has to clean the stables. And all the while, this horse is just crapping and crapping and crapping. And he has to keep shoveling the dung out of here, right? Not the greatest thing to be doing, not a task you would envy necessarily, but Hercules is up to the task. He's able to complete the task, much to the chagrin of the king of the area, who basically wanted to set him up to fail. What this does is kind of takes that concept, and instead of it being something as simple as the horse stable, it takes the entirety of a planet, and it says, hey, the engine which is terraforming our planet has basically has stopped working. The gears have stopped grinding. Our planet is dying and being destroyed. You need to do this. If you decide to do this, though, we will join the Olympus colony of planets here. We'll fall, we'll bend a knee, and we will become one with your colony. But you kind of need to do this for us. And they, again, set him on this task, knowing that they have sent leagues of people down to this engine to try to restart it, and not a single one has come back, setting our Hercules stand-in up for failure. So he goes down into the caves, he starts the engine here, he finds the engine, and he finds that there's these beings within these caverns that are just like wrecking every single, person who tries to come about them. But Hercules is Hercules, and our character is our character, right? He's been to war. He's seen the shit. He's walked away with bionic freaking arms because of it, and a little bit of a mean spirit. So he definitely is able to take out the beasts where others have failed and gotten more of their body basically eaten than what has been left over. So he finally is able to lay waste to all these creatures and, kind of find the problem and find the solution for what was stopping the Terraform engine from kicking off here. Before we dive into the latter half of the issue here, what did you think about the task itself that he was set out to do, and what did you think about the uneasy alliance that he has to strike with not only the father but also the son character, that was kind of like, I don't know, governing the planet?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, artwork is just so crazy great in this series, man, throughout.
Yes,
And
right.
the color choices, like, I love it. I'm so blown away with it, issue by issue, and I love that. I just love the framework of it and basing it on that ancient mythology, but giving it this update. It's such a, like you said, it's such a fantastic backdrop for the story. Yeah, dude, I could watch this guy hammer people's heads off all day long. I love the violence. I love the violence and the way it's depicted in this book, and I'm really falling in love with this character, and like, this kid he's got with him now, his little sidekick that he's picked up, and I don't know, just like this little family that kind of seems to be forming around him. This one was shocking too, because it's the first time where you see him. I think he's kind of been belligerent and his mission, and his uncaring, completely detached from emotion, quest for revenge, and to fill this empty, bottomless pit that's never going to get filled inside of him. He's been really remorseful about, or not remorseful, remorseless, I guess, about it through these issues. This one, it felt like where when you see this father get killed by his own son just to join the colony, and knowing all the that they come back, if they didn't join, that Olympus would come back in force and kill them all anyway, and at least this way they can save some piece of something. It was just heartbreaking, man, and it's just to see what effect his family is having on all these different planets and all these different people under their thumb. You kind of really saw it get to him, and you saw the effects of that, I think, for the first time in this issue. As when did he get back on the ship, and they're like, he's always is his sister in his head, right, with the narration.
I believe so.
Yeah, the one who's like really the tech genius. And she's like, "Are you okay? Are you there?" Something like that. And he's like, "I'm fucking done. Take me back home." He was just really, after this one, he was really over it. And I don't know. I really like that one, and I'm really curious to see how he can, because that weight is eventually going to break. We all know that's going to happen. He's not going to be able to carry it forever, and all this pain, it's going to have to come out somehow. So.
Yeah, and every other task that he's been set on, both in the mythology and in this book, have been strength-based things, right? The taming of the lion, the killing of the hydra, things like that. It's like you're showing the things that you know about yourself already because you've gone to war. You know what it means to kill and have to kill. This was the first time that we've seen the character basically be put in a no-win situation. You could start the engine, you could terraform this planet, but that is going to come with them rejoining the colony and basically going against everything that they believe in and kind of like bowing to the corporate, enterprise that's going to control you now. But then if he doesn't do it, you're going to die either way. So it's like you're stuck. You're going to lose regardless. And there's no way you can beat your way out of that solution. This is something you have to use your brain about. And even when you do that, you're not walking away a happy camper.
No, for sure. And I think it's very telling that also, like, when he first met this sidekick kid of his, he saw a flashback of his own family and his own son. And, and I think also with the new character, this woman, I'm wondering if they're going to get together and be like some semblance of a replacement family for him, or,
Well, and that's what I was about to say too, is that like you talked about the fact that he has like these characters that are forming around him, and we know that at the onset of the series is like one of the biggest catalysts for him doing everything that he's doing is the fact that in a murderous fit of rage through PTSD, essentially he ends up murdering his own family, and he's held that that cloud of guilt, which will never really go away, is starting to at least like let some rays of sunshine through, as he has this found family that's forming around him, and you can see that the walls are kind of breaking around him that he's put up, around himself. They're starting to, I don't know, form this family here, which is a really nice thing to see within the storyline.
Yeah, and it's, the family kind of trust, and the balance kind of relies on him in its own weird way, because they've sent him out to complete these tasks, and if he, like, Zeus is kind of losing control of the table, and he's got a lot of opposition to him. So if this doesn't go, if these tasks don't go well, it could mean trouble for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I love, like, the design of, they call it the mountain, and just like the whole look of it is fantastic.
Yeah, all of the things that they're pulling on within the mythology, and how the way that they're incorporating that within the cyberpunk world is just like perfect. Like the marriage is something I never thought that we needed or would get, but I don't want to live without it anymore. Like, this is so perfect. This would make an awesome freaking movie or miniseries or something.
Absolutely. And I'd love to pick Walsh's brain about how this came to fruition. Like, what was the seed of the idea? You know what I mean? Like, how the hell did you mush these two worlds together? And
let me make a note here. Interview.
Yeah, get Mike
Walsh.
on this. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that's on the to-do
that
list.
And Frankenstein, we got plenty to talk about with that, man.
No kidding, dude.
He's
Yeah, Walsh is becoming like a force of nature within the comic book industry.
Seriously, I'd love to know how this idea came about, though. It's so genius.
Yeah, this is a great book. If you're not reading it, definitely consider checking it out. Really inventive layouts, really awesome artwork. And again, we're talking about mythological stories here. You're not going to be steered wrong here. You're
and each one's kind of like there is a continuing, storyline, and obviously bigger things are going on, but there's also, like, kind of self-contained stories in their own way. So it's easily accessible just to pick up an issue and be like, hey, I'm into this, and I definitely want to see what some of these characters or some of these things I didn't understand but you can still understand and enjoy a good chunk of the issue with just diving in, I think kind of later in the game with this one, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is that overarching story, but yeah, like you're going to find a level of enjoyment. So if you haven't started on issue 1, just pick up the latest issue, see if it's something that strikes your fancy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, talking about things that strike your fancy here, man. Let's go ahead and talk about our covers of the week here.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm going to kick things off, if you don't mind, here with Batman and Robin Year One, a book that we just discussed here with an awesome cover, a like restrained cover here as well from Bruno Redondo. When I first saw this, I didn't think it was his artwork at all, because it doesn't feel reminiscent for the things that we just saw when he was working on Nightwing. This feels very restrained, very minimalistic here, and I love the approach that he took on this. This was an awesome looking cover.
Love the use of negative space on that.
So. Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for that stuff too. So so good. Next up, we have DK Ruin on Magic. I was a sucker for this guy's artwork from the Vault series, Bleed Them Dry, the detective vampire story. But then he started doing covers for Miles Morales as well. Dude, style is fantastic, man. I wish that he would do more interiors. I don't know if it's opportunity or whatever the case may be, but man, such a freaking clean artist. Love that style. Like super dynamic poses for everything. It's really, really awesome. So that one really stood out for me. We just talked about New Gods too, and we talked about the fact that Federici was emulating what I felt to be a Mike Huddleston style. So it's only whatever worth it that
what's a big Mike book? Like, if I wanted to go dive into a great example of some of his best artwork, what's a good book to do so with?
Dude, Decorum is awesome in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of comic book review mythology around that. That's where the phrase "it's a simple story told in a complex way" comes from. So I think it's a worthwhile story. He worked with Joe Casey on a book of Butcher Baker Righteous Maker, which is the most bonkers gonzo superhero story I have ever read in my entire life. It is I'll show you some
Oh,
pages.
that sounds like a winner. I gotta get that
I'll
one.
show you backstage because I quite frankly can't show them on screen here right now.
Oh,
It
yeah.
gets freaking crazy. Way back in the day, back in like the heyday of Oni, he did a couple books where Phil Hester was the writer, not the artist.
Oh
One of them
shit!
was called
What?
Coffin. Yeah, this was way back. So his style has evolved, obviously, but this is back in the early 2000s. Coffin was an awesome book, basically about a suit where your life essence could live on after your body had died. And then there was also one called Deep Sleeper, where people could navigate the dreamscape basically, and people were manipulating others' dreams and ambitions and thoughts while they were sleeping. Almost a little bit Inception-y before Inception came out.
Okay.
Mixed with, I should say, mixed with kaiju samurai swordmanship as well.
Those both sound dope. Those I got it. The Butcher Baker one sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Oh yeah, and of course, and here, Sal. First of all, Sal, thank you for stopping by, man. Always appreciate you. But Huddleston did variant covers for House of X and Powers of 10, all of which I have because I'm a freaking Huddleston stan. So great call on that. Those were awesome covers.
Omega said there's a Frizen. Yeah, that Bard of Frizen is beautiful. A lot of Kirby crackle on that bad boy. Hell yeah, great call.
I mean, yeah, it's Frizen.
It's a Frizen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that it for you?
Maybe. Let's see.
Oh,
no, I got one more. I had one more because we had a Dan Panosian cover that popped off here. Zatanna, a book we did not talk about, but is totally worthwhile. You should check it out. Awesome introductory issue. I was afraid that it wasn't going to live up to the recent miniseries. It does. It absolutely does. And when you got Panosian doing a cover here, like, you have no excuse. Go buy it. Go read it. Go, just take it in. Just take a deep breath of Panosian. It's awesome.
I feel like
that does do it for me, though.
I think we should both have obligatory Panosian picks. You know what I mean?
Well, just prepare yourself. Spoilers for next week.
Yeah, that a boy. That's Nick, dude. Blame Nick.
I know.
All right, covers of the week for your boy. Cover A from Chris Samney, Batman and Robin. Just loved it. Talked about it earlier. Great issue, great book. You guys check it out. Frank Cho doing gorgeous work always. I just adore this Catwoman cover. Yeah, man. And then Rion Hughes doing a great heavy variant for Power Fantasy.
Yeah. Awesome design work within the pages of the book too. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh, is Rion doing the design work on that?
Yep, he's the designer on the book.
Dude, shout out to him because that book's got a fantastic vibe to it. Absolutely. And then of course, man, Panosian time. Gotta go Catwoman. I almost went Nightwing. The Nightwing one was dope too, but
is that the one where he's jumping over the subway?
No, it's him and Babs like back to back, but it's like,
oh, okay.
Homeboy has like what 3-4 amazing covers out this week alone. Killing it, dude.
If he's at Heroes again this year, like, I might be in for some trouble. That's all I have to say. It might be a bad time for me.
Shout out to Dan. Time. He's fast earning a corner all his own on covers of the week. So
yep.
Yeah, man. Last but not least, Ryan Brown doing Doom. Had to throw that in there. Great Doom face there by Ryan. So that's it for me, buddy. Yeah, man.
All right. Well, let's talk about. I had flashed one of the covers of the books that I picked up here, but we got a plethora of books that came out today here that I'm super excited for here. Which one of these are standing out for you?
Green Arrow for sure. Seasons #2. I'm Superman also. Dan Moore on that. Been killer. Yeah, how about you, bro?
Yes, Superman's been awesome. I'm so glad that you got me on that book, man, because it is it's like the superhero comic that arguably I look forward to the most. Like when it comes to like really like big, bold superhero kind of things. Green Arrow, grounded, gritty crime book, with a superhero landscape. That's pretty awesome. I've already read Ultimate X-Men. I gotta say, man, they're starting to like really hyper focus in on what the story is starting to do and what it means, and the Shadow King comes back in a big bad way. So it was kind of awesome. And then the seasons, the fun, whimsical story. I can't wait to see where they take this. Now that's kind of the circus is in town. So we will find out.
Yeah,
and
this has been so good.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive
Also,
into that.
I got to shout out Long Halloween. Bill Sienkiewicz is doing the artwork in that one. I'm definitely going to pick that up.
Yeah,
the Long Halloween #5. I love Bill. Hellhunters #3. I'm excited for. And then Savage Sword of Conan #7 definitely is going to be on my list. Those are some others I wanted to.
It'll be amazing if it shows up in shops.
It's not going to show up on time, but that's okay.
It won't. That's okay though. We'll have a magazine format Conan book to look forward to maybe next week.
Yeah, it's still a great book and incredibly put together. So we love you, Conan.
Yeah.
And Jim Zub.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, man. That's a fantastic book. I can't wait to dive into the book that just showed up for me this week, even though it came out last week here, but I ain't gonna be mad about it. But that does it for us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with us, everyone that's been here. Sal, you jumped in a little bit later here. Conlin, Omega, Edson. We had Nick, who just popped on the freaking screen out of nowhere. We had Fable. We had James Phelps, possibly twice. If I'm missing anyone, just know that we appreciate you. Rooster, DC. Y'all rock. Thank you so much for hanging with us again tonight here, and we will see you all again next week. Later, y'all.
Station, y'all.